Lisa, and I am here to tell you about why we're doing the rally for ERDC. I know you just saw the promotional video, and I hope you liked it. And this is a part of the presentation where I will kind of explain more into depth of why we're doing this. So I'm going to start out with the issues and concern. And the number one reason is jobs in Oregon. A lot of big proponents of the sponsors for this event is the fact that, you know, they're really trying to get out there that we are causing people to lose jobs, and not just participants of the ERDC program. I will get to that a little later. Also, this issue leaves families with some hard decisions to make. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the Oregon budget crisis and how reducing and essentially getting rid of ERDC is going to cause the budget to be in a bigger crisis. So let's start with Oregon job losses. We already know that the Oregon job market is in crisis as it is. Lost jobs means less taxes coming in. That seems pretty obvious. One thing that a lot of you may or may not know is that even though ERDC hasn't been canceled yet, several of the Head Start programs in Oregon have already shut down in a preemptive measure because of the ERDC program. That means educated, experienced teachers and their aides have lost their jobs. In addition, a lot of private companies and private providers have decided to quit and maybe go to work. And so we're losing a lot of skilled, valuable people in the child care realm. Skilled workers quitting means businesses incur costs. The last thing we want to do is make business unfavorable in Oregon. And if we continuously cause people to quit jobs in Oregon, it incurs more costs, and it also makes the people in Oregon less employable, less desirable. Why not pick up my business and move somewhere else where the government isn't causing my employees to constantly quit? So families faced with hard decisions. This is another big issue. Nearly 100% of ERDC recipients will essentially quit their jobs because they will make less money per hour than child care cost itself. Let me give you an example. A child care provider in general, maybe they're asking less than the state wage, which I think is $8.65 is what they should be charged, if I remember correctly, per child. Well, maybe they'll take $5 and you have 2 kids. That's $10 an hour, you're making $8.40. It's not going to work. This is not just a problem for ERDC recipients. Since 1994, Oregon care provider costs have increased 59%. This issue is affecting people all across the board of income levels. And the sad thing about this is the low-income people who are on ERDC will either quit their jobs and incur more need to stay on public assistance than they had before, or they'll leave their kids in maybe unfavorable or unsafe places, or maybe just stay at home. And that is definitely not a very good solution. In addition to these problems, when you take away ERDC, this affects a whole realm of domestic violence issues. The number one reason survivors of domestic violence stay with their abuser is because they're financially dependent on the abuser. And so the last thing that we need to do is take away single mothers' incomes and encourage them, in essence, to become financially dependent on somebody that may not be healthy for their family. And this is a very big issue in Oregon. It may seem a little bit left field, but 31% of women in Oregon in the in the reproductive area of their life between 20 and 35 have experienced domestic violence. So it's a big issue in Oregon. Okay, so now let's talk about the budget crisis. I'm sure that this is something that's going to really hit home to everyone. Even if you're not a student, if you're a teacher, a professor, somebody visiting from a local company here in Albany or Corvallis, Budget is a big deal. Budget cuts are necessary, but I want to argue that cutting ERDC is actually going to increase the problem, and I'll tell you why. An Oregon State University study showed that the majority of ERDC recipients will go and apply for a program called TANF. And let me explain to you a little bit about TANF. I can't go in great detail because of time constraints. In 2010, 28,500 people, think about that word as I move on, people were on TANF. And what TANF is, well, first let me tell you what ERDC is. ERDC is employment-related daycare. And so if a person makes $8.50 an hour and it costs them $10 an hour to do childcare, the state will give the amount to where only 20% of their income goes to childcare and the rest the state will pay for. But there is a copay. A parent must pay it. And it's checked out that they're making sure they work, and there's very tight checks and balances in that program. But TANF, the program that people will go on to, it's a full ride. And a lot of people need this program. People who are homeless and going through really hard times, not people who work. TANF offers cash benefits. I think an average 3-person home is over $600 a month for cash benefits. Food stamps, a full supply of food stamps no matter what. Like a 2-child home with no income is almost $500 a month in food stamps. Full child care benefits, they don't do any co-pays whatsoever, and health care for a whole year for the entire family, whether or not you need it, and whether or not you stay on TANF. There's so many more expensive benefits to this program that I can't go on forever. It includes a jobs program and several other things that are given to you. Like I said, many people need this program, but not people who are willing, able, and desire to work. The budget eliminates ERDC coverage for, now listen to this, 4,658 families. That's not one person, families. So, when you combine the almost 30,000 people on TANF and take the entire almost 5,000 people on ERDC, you will see that it increases the people who need the TANF program, the more expensive program, to 65%. That is phenomenal, and that is something we definitely don't need for our Oregon budget crisis. Oregon will listen. This is my final point, and it's actually like some light in the clouds. Last year, several organizations banded together, and many, many private persons, care providers, parents, they all banded together and they rallied at the United States Capitol about the time that we were going to rally this year. And people sent in letters and phone calls, and all those things compounded together caused ERDC to be extended for an entire year. My hope this year is that you will attend the state capitol on the 9th with us, or there's other ways you can get involved. There's going to be a sign-up sheet passed around, so please put your name on it. We will correspond with what you could become involved in. So I would love for you to go to this rally and make a difference, and my hope is that they will stop trying to take away ERDC from families.